Welcome to the Words to Empower podcast, featuring Bishop Frank Stewart, pastor of the Acts Ministry in Conway and North Little Rock. And now, Pastor Stewart.
Well, she just didn't have a mini dress on. Well, she just didn't look like that. I don't know why God gave them all those curves anyway. Stop blaming. The problem is inside of you. If they didn't have so much pornography on TV and on a computer, I'd be all right. No, you can cut it off. He gave you discipline. For God cannot be tempted with evil. Neither tempts he. God doesn't bring temptation. All right? Verse 14. But every man is tempted when he's drawn away. And literally in the Greek, that word drawn away simply means dragged. See, when you give temptation power, it will drag you from the presence of God. Drawn away of his own lust and enticed. His own lust. It's going to be a key word, lust, we're going to deal with today. Then when lust hath conceived, when lust gets pregnant, it brings forth sin. And sin, when it is finished, brings forth what? Death. So unbridled lust bring forth death. Death. Now you think I'm talking, when you think of lust, you think I'm talking about only sexual temptation. No, it's way more than that. Way more than that. The lust to be successful at any cost. Where we sell our children and their future and their holiness for a second mortgage on the house. That's lust. That's lust. That's lust. Because when lust is involved, it is a level of selfishness that I want to gratify myself no matter who I hurt. All right? And this is something we got to guard against because of what he's getting ready to take us. Now, you know, this is a CD you need to have. You're not taking notes. You're just looking at me. You need to have the CD. You need to make sure. You need to make sure you have this word today. All right? Every leader needs to make sure you have this word. We have to guard against this. All right? So we got that. Lust. See that? Lust is conceived. After it's conceived, it brings forth sin. Sin, when it's finished, brings forth death. It starts with a thought. It starts with a thought. You got to, you got to be real careful with that. You cannot let the thought even come to your mind. Now, I don't mind being transparent because it gives glory to God. I've been saved about 40 years. One of the things I had in management, being over people, they kind of teach you to really know how to use fear and use a lot of profanity. Growing up as a young man, trying to discover what a man is, I learned how to be very proficient in profanity. For y'all don't understand profanity, cussing, okay? I became very proficient in cussing. Matter of fact, we used to make fun of people that couldn't cuss right. Now, let me tell you, it's been 40 years since I've used any curse word. 40 years. Because God delivers you from that. And this year, I heard Satan say something. And I'm talking about lust. All right? The lust to give people a piece of your mind. That's a lust. That's an evil desire. And it's all wrapped up in pride and selfishness. All right? Lust hath conceived to bring forth sin, and sin, when it's finished, bring forth death. And I remember just seeking the Lord, just dealing with some stuff. And I heard Satan say just as clearly. He said, you don't have to use the word. Just think about saying it. And I said, you're a lie, Satan. I'm not going to even think about it. Come on. Hello, somebody. God brings us to a point of understanding how much we need him. I don't even think about it. I'm not going to think about that. I'm not going to take me back into what he brought me out of. And I've been removed from it for 4 decades. He's going to take me back to that. When I first got saved, I was just kind of naive. I first got saved, I was like, man, people that use profanity, they're so they're just ignorant. That vocabulary is not big enough. I say, when you use profanity, it's just that your vocabulary is so small. And I was like, it don't make sense to be using profanity. But after pastoring for a while, I've got another revelation. that it just seemed like some words were just
Stay tuned for more of Frank Stewart. And now for some special announcements.
Thanks for partnering with the Acts Ministries. We value your service and your donations. That's why we've made it easy to make contributions to support our ministry. Simply go to your web browser and click the search bar and type in actsministriesonline.org. Then click Donate Online. It's really that easy. For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242. That's Simple Give.
And now, more of Pastor Frank Stewart.
See, that what he showed me I had a condemning spirit because God delivered me so totally from that. You got to hear what I'm telling you. God delivered me so totally from that not to have a condemning spirit. Now, I was a virgin when I got married. I've only known one woman my whole life. But one thing God has taught me, don't be condemning, because you are where you are by the grace of God. And sometimes God just let you dangle over the edge and let you know it's me that's keeping you. Or you understand? So you don't even think about it, because then when it's conceived, and that's why pornography is such a killer, because it plants all those thoughts and it leads to so many things. All right? Now look at King David. We're studying how to be kings. 2 Samuel chapter 11, first 5 verses. 2 Samuel chapter 11, first 5 verses. Put it in proper context. But this is something we need to make sure our young people know. When you get to the palace, you're going to be tempted. There are some temptations you will not face until you become successful, until God blesses you. You got to get that. Now, watch this text. Watch this. We ready? We're ready. If you don't have it, you can look at the screens. It happened in the spring of the year, at the time when kings go out to battle, that David sent Joab. See, he's out of place. He's out of place. David is out of place. He wasn't even supposed to be in this place. Kings go out to battle. It's made even clearer in other translations and commentaries. And his servants with him. See, and all Israel, and they destroyed the people of Ammon and besieged Rehoboth. But David remained at Jerusalem. This was something new. He was supposed to be, like all kings, they go out to battle. Then it happened. Look at somebody said, then it happened. Notice the writer here. He said it happened in the spring of the year. You see, the writer is writing with the perspective of knowing what was getting ready to happen. And he's giving us incredible insight. He said, then it happened one evening that David arose from his bed and walked on the roof of the king's house. And from the roof, he saw a woman bathing. And the woman was very beautiful to behold. Now, I'm going to be real with this, okay? I'm going to be real, because it's time out for us not being real. So one of the things that led him to this was boredom. Boredom. Not having something to do. Not doing what God has called you to do. And that's why I'm praying that we stop having our kids out for 3 months in the summer, that we go to full-time, all go to school year-round, because during that time when they don't have anything to do, they get in trouble. We have to have something to do to occupy our minds. Got to have something to do. David is bored. He's sleeping in the daytime. Look at somebody else and say, boredom. Boredom. Those twin evils. You got boredom and you got curiosity. Watch them. I'm bored. There's nothing to do. That's always something to do. Don't let your kids get away with, I'm bored. I ain't got nothing to do. I need a new game. No, you don't need a new game. You need to join a book club. You need to learn how to play chess. You need to learn how to quote some scriptures. But they can't learn it if you playing games too all day. He was bored. I love the writer here. He says, then it happened. See, it just can't overcome us unless, see, it has to be set up. Then it happened. Got out of his bed. This is in the midday because he wasn't supposed to be there. He was in the wrong place, wrong time. And boredom got him. Now here comes curiosity. Curiosity. Curious. You know. So it says here, and from the roof he saw a woman. Focus, underline roof. Look at the focus. He had to be in a position to see. See, I'm telling you, there's a temptation that happens after prosperity. There's a temptation I call the palace temptation. It's after God has blessed you. And when God has blessed you, certain temptations come. He would have never seen Bathsheba if he hadn't been on the roof. If he hadn't been king, if he'd been down there keeping the sheep, this temptation would have never happened. Would have never happened. The temptation that Samson faced with Delilah would have never happened if he hadn't been elevated over the people of God and God given him an extraordinary gift of strength. The only reason why she was dealing with Samson was to bring him down. Do you see that? From the rooftop, when God elevates you to the palace, and one thing I want to make sure before we leave the studying of kings, because he's declared that we're kings and we're queens, is to notice how many people in the Bible, how many kings messed up. They were great people until they got to the palace. They was humble people until they got to the palace. It takes a whole different level of word and consecration and focus on God when God begins to bless you, when God begins to elevate you, or else you're going to become a sitting duck. So he's on the rooftop and he's in the wrong place. He should be at war. He should be with his men. It was during that time, but he's sleeping in the daytime. That's a bad sign. That's a bad sign when you just, that's lazy and slowful. I see people, I'm on my way to work and 5, 10, 15 men standing out at noonday over a piece of log or something, gambling or doing something. Grown men, you should be at work. Something to do. You need something. We all need something to do. God gave Adam a job before he gave him a wife. Before you get a wife, you're going to need to have a job because you need to have a job to support your family. But you need a job when you get a wife because you're going to need to have something to do.
For mobile giving, text the amount you wish to donate to 501-302-4242.
The Acts Church in North Little Rock is located at 1224 Franklin Street. Morning Glory begins at 8 a.m. on Sunday mornings. Sunday school begins at 8:30 a.m. And for a powerful word, join us at 9:30 a.m. for our morning worship service. Bible study is each Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. For more information, go to actsministriesonline.org or give us a call at 501-329-2055.
Thank you for tuning in to the Acts Ministry Podcast. The Acts Church is located at 1423 Ingram Street in Conway and 1224 Franklin Street in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Tune in each day to hear an inspiring word from Pastor Frank Stewart.